You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Number to call up as always is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. Got a jam-packed show coming your way today. Lord have mercy, it's a special day. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. I'll get into all the NBA stuff in just a second. I'll get into the Western Conference showdown tonight. A play-in game, essentially, going on between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. I can't wait to see that game. I'll get into that in just a few minutes, rather. Don't go anywhere. I got a lot of stuff to get into as it pertains to that. I got some stuff to get into as it pertains to the Western Conference playoff picture. This kid and Andre Ingram showed up out of the G League and showed out at the Staples Center last night. Got to talk about that. Even got to talk about Mr. Robert Kraft, owner for the New England Patriots, along with Michael Rubin, minority owner for the Philadelphia 76ers, showing up in a Pennsylvania state penitentiary to show support to rap artist Meek Mill. All of that and more is stuff to get into. Let me just get this off my chest real quick. The Yankees stunk last night. I'm very upset. I'll be honest. I don't appreciate what the Boston Red Sox did to them last night, smacking Luis Severino around. First 2 innings, the man gave up 4 runs. Yankees gave up 9 runs in the 6th inning. They got shellacked, beat down, bombarded, whatever you want to call it. They're 5-6 on the season. Don't know what the hell is wrong with them. When I don't care that it's just 11 games into a 162-game season. I don't appreciate the New York Yankees allowing the fans in Boston, Massachusetts to sit up there and chant, Yankees suck. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it, and I expect pride. I expect some kind of intestinal fortitude to show itself when you play tonight. A national televised game getting shellacked like that. It happens in the sport of Major League Baseball. I understand that, but damn it, I don't like it. Bad enough I got to deal with the Mets looking like the Yankees were supposed to be looking like. Just lost 1 game. Flat out balling right now. Got a new manager, players seem more enthused. They're balling. Yankees, Giancarlo Stanton, yeah. We're going from the home run king to the strikeout king. What's up? Time to step up. That's point number 1. Staying with New York, let me say this. I will deal with this Jeff Hornacek issue where he's trying to make a case for himself to remain head coach of the New York Knicks a little bit later on in this show. Don't you think for 1 second I'm going to escape touching on that issue. Not to the NBA. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you something. I feel good. Despite the Yankees irritating me and disgusting me and making my mood compromise just a touch. Let me say this. I cannot express to you enough how excited I am about these players. Because you see, let me put things in its proper perspective. Last year was a very, very disappointing, dismal, and depressing year for me. And the reason why is because the second that Kevin Durant decided to take his talents to the Bay Area from Oklahoma City, there was no suspense for me. I absolutely positively knew that there was no one that was going to be able to present enough of a challenge to even make a series against the Golden State Warriors interesting. The combination of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant along with Draymond Green is just too lethal to overcome. And to tell you that I was utterly disgusted doesn't even put into words. Having said all of that, Kevin Durant's a great guy, a phenomenal basketball player, a great basketball ambassador, and I have to admit I'm just partial to Mama Durant. She's such a wonderful, wonderful woman. Such a lovely lady. I don't even like saying nothing critical about him anymore. That's how much I love her. Okay? Her, Mama Shaq, all the NBA moms that I know so lovely. I just got to be careful because, damn it, that's their children. And I don't want to upset mamas. Because there's only one thing Stevie A loves more than the kids. Only one thing Stevie A loves more than the kids. Or just as much as the kids. And that's mamas. Well, no question about that. Having said all of that, let me be very, very clear. Kevin Durant disrupted the balance of power. Completely tilted it in the direction, not even of the Western Conference, of one team above all others. Significantly so. Now it's interesting. Houston is legit. Utah has my rookie of the year. I don't care what anybody says. Portland is tied with Utah. And right now, Utah will be the number 3 seed instead of Portland with a 48-33 record. New Orleans is a 5th seed at 47-34. Has Anthony Davis. But guess who else has the same exact record? The San Antonio Spurs. Without Kawhi Leonard, which just speaks to the greatness of Greg Popovich. And oh, by the way, Oklahoma City. Now, what is my wish? Me personally tonight, I'm torn. Because on one hand, when I think about this literal play-in game, where Minnesota and Denver both with identical 46-35 records, supposedly literally a play-in game because the winner goes home, and the winner stays rather, and they're in the postseason, and the loser goes home. Now, whether the winner's going to be the 8th seed or the 7th seed or the 6th seed remains to be seen because they're both only one game behind Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and New Orleans. Here's what I would tell you. My only wish is that whatever the outcome is, dictates Oklahoma City playing Golden State in the first round of the playoffs. That's it. Kevin Durant not having Steph Curry at his disposal, but having to have Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and the rest of the crew, them going up against Oklahoma City in the first round of these playoffs is my wish. That's what I want. That's what I'm craving for. That's what I'm starving for. I want to see Kevin Durant have to go up against Russell Westbrook with limited help, just like Russell Westbrook had limited help last year, even though he went up against Houston. But he had limited help all year long, had to adjust to life without Kevin Durant for the first time in his career, balled out, averaged the triple-double, won league MVP honors, but got bounced out in the first round by Houston because he didn't have help. I want to see what Kevin Durant's going to do with a dissipated level of help against Russell Westbrook, having Carmelo Anthony and Paul George at his disposal. That's what I want to see. Because in my opinion, you're still playing in the system that you want to play in. You still got Klay. You still got Draymond. If you Kevin Durant, if you are that dude, one of the top 3 players in the world, having a max deal, scheduled to opt out of your max deal so you can re-up for a max deal. Well, it wasn't a max deal that you had, but opting out of your deal to re-up for a max deal with Golden State this summer. Also the guy that's got over $300 million in endorsement deals. Who didn't want the world to think that, you know what, I need all of these guys in order for me to win a championship. Because I never would have won one without Russell Westbrook. I want that guy having to go up against Russell Westbrook in the first round of these playoffs. That's what I want most of all, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing I want more than that is to make sure that Houston and Golden State meet in the conference finals because they're the 2 best teams. But let me tell you something about tonight. We all know Tom Thibodeau to be a great coach. There's no surprise there. We all know that Jimmy Butler's an all-star. We all know that Karl Anthony Towns is a star in this league and a rising star approaching superstar status before we blink because this brother has all the requisite skills at 6'10", 6'11". He is the real deal. Andrew Wiggins is no scrub. He can ball too. And whether it's Jeff Teague or Rubio or anybody else, the fact of the matter is when you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, you got to give credit where credit is due, but still in all, they're not really doing anything other than what we expected, if we're being entirely, totally honest. And I didn't mean Rubio, by the way. I'm talking about Derrick Rose. I'm talking about JC, Jamal Crawford. My nickname for him is And1 because that's how he plays. And he's got those kind of skills. Having said all of that, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say this to you. And I mean this from the bottom of my soul. If the Denver Nuggets get in these playoffs, you shouldn't be mad. I don't know if y'all have been paying attention. They're on a 6-game winning streak. Since losing to Philadelphia and Toronto, since Mike Malone kept them across the border and showed them game film and challenged them to be all they can be, they have stepped up and they have handled their business. Jamal Murray has handled his business. Jokic definitely handles his business. Gary Harris, when he went down, other cats stepped up and had to handle their business. Paul Millsap was injured for most of the year. He's back. He's making a contribution. I like Denver. I think a veteran like Richard Jefferson, who's a good dude, highly intelligent, go steal one of our jobs one day in this business because the brother can talk. I'm here to tell you that right now. He can debate with the best of them. He's something else when he want to bring it. When he wants to be politically correct, of course not. He's no match for yours truly and others. But when he wants to bring it, Richard Jefferson is special in this business. But on the court, despite his age and his experience, he still has hops. He still has heart. He's still smart. Knows the game. He's been to the finals a couple of times in his career, several times in his career. Won a ring. Won a ring with LeBron. Lost 2 with Jason Kidd and Kenyon Martin back in the day. Richard Jefferson is a special kind of dude and a special kind of athlete and good for anybody's locker room. And I'm here to tell you something right now. When I look at this squad, especially with the Gary Harrises of the world, the Jokic's of the world, the Jamal Murrays who has stepped up. And I love this brother's game. He can get it done. I love those big-time free throws he hit against Milwaukee, by the way. I'm just saying to you right now, if they were to get into the playoffs and Denver happened to be the 8th seed against Houston, Houston plays an up-and-down flow. Now, Jokic can't run with Clint Capella, but Clint Capella can't guard him. So when I look at this, I'm saying, okay, you got tonight to think about. Now, you've lost 2 of the 3 times you faced Minnesota. You won the last meeting, though. They beat you in overtime once. They beat you earlier. They beat you on the road. They beat you at home. It's going to be a challenge. See what Denver does tonight. It's going to be a challenge. No doubt about it. All of that's true. And Minnesota, because of their experience and the presence of a young stud in Karl Anthony Towns, you might find yourself looking at them and rooting for Minnesota. I got to tell you, I'm not picking any side in any of this. For this right here, I would tell you, it don't matter to me. It's the matchup that matters to me. I think Denver is in for a tough tour. If I had to bet my money, it would be on Minnesota tonight, but only because the game's in Minnesota. If this game was in Denver, I'd side with Denver. It's in Minnesota, I'm inclined to side with Minnesota, I'm sorry. But it's a pick'em game. It's a pick'em game. And we're going to see what Denver's made of tonight. And Minnesota, for that matter. 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio. Something else that's entered my mind. I don't know if y'all saw this last night. The Los Angeles Lakers lost to the Houston Rockets. My response to that? Who gives a damn? That wasn't the story last night. The story was a guy by the name of Andre Ingram. 32 years old, ladies and gentlemen. 32 years old. And he's a rookie. Never was invited up to the NBA. Played in the G League. Magic Johnson and the Lakers brought him up last couple of games for the season. Last night, this brother played. 32 years old. Rookie. And this brother put on a mini show. It was some electricity in the building for the Staples Center last night. And I got to tell you, it was special to behold. Reading from an article in the LA Times right here. Right here. Staples Center stirred in anticipation as a thin 32-year-old rookie with taut cheeks and gray speckled hair walked over to the scorer's table to check in. The arena erupted when a part-time math tutor made his first three-pointer. Later, in one corner of the arena, an Ingram chant began, and they weren't talking about Brandon, as in Brandon Ingram, the Lakers' young star, former number 2 overall pick. They were talking about the man who spent 10 years playing in tiny gyms or practice facilities in far-flung towns and flyover states, hoping he'd get a chance in the NBA. When the fans chanted MVP, they didn't mean James Harden, who was also on the court. They meant Andre Ingram, and they were living his fantasy with him. The past 10 years were all for this day. The times when he wondered if this was all worth it. When he made less than $30,000 a year to play basketball, living with roommates sometimes a decade younger than him. It was all for this. Wow. And to look at the Lakers and their bench, from Brook Lopez to Julius Randle and everybody else, cheer this guy on. I got to tell y'all, I'm not the emotional type like that. I had goosebumps. My hair was standing up on my skin. I couldn't believe this, but this brother was launching awkward looking threes, and them bad boys was going in, driving into the lane, floaters, stripping dudes in the post. He was doing it, y'all. He was doing it. First NBA game he had ever played. After 384 games in the minors, he led the Lakers in scoring for the first half and didn't miss a shot until 5 minutes and 2 seconds remained in the fourth quarter. Finished with 19 points. The most for a Lakers rookie since Nick Van Exel had 23 in 1993. 4 3-pointers as a rookie. Wow. This is the guy that was in the G League and went from the G League to being guarded by Chris Paul. Went from the G League to being contested by James Harden. Ladies and gentlemen, he didn't play for the Lakers. He made for the Los Angeles Defenders. D-Fenders. Now the South Bay Lakers. That's what they were once called anyway. Spent 4 seasons in Los Angeles. Sometimes scrimmaging against the Defenders. Assisted Luke Walton. Had a short stint in Australia. This is what stories are made of. Let me tell you something right now. If you are the National Basketball Association, it's moments like this that should make the NCAA cringe. Because if the NBA teams can provide more moments like this for players, you're going to see more and more interested in the G League and less interested in the NCAA. Depending on the school, the program, the exposure. I'm not talking about folks that got chances to go there because we know they'd pick that. But I'm talking about other places. It's something to think about, something to consider, something to just to take into consideration. Especially now that you got the FBI sticking its nose in the NCAA business and holding folks accountable because the NCAA foolishly has gone about the business of operating with impunity and snubbing their nose at the system and at people because they knew they could operate with relative impunity for so long. Now the FBI has moved in to say, we're the United States government. You ain't that damn large. Either way you slice it, this was special, man. Andre Ingram heard MVP chants at the Staples Center. When he called his wife in Richmond, Virginia, the story here says she began screaming. And his mother was with her, and she began screaming with her daughter-in-law. When Ingram checked into the game, Chris Paul checked in with him. And Chris Paul, superstar point guard, future Hall of Famer, perennial all-star, and by the way, the president of the Players Association and a role model for so many of these cats, was true to form. Chris Paul went up to Ingram, told him he was proud of him. Said he also noted they're on the same page. They're the same age. Chris Paul's 32 as well. Former number 4 overall pick in the NBA. Never seen a damn second in the G League. This guy is 32 years of age, same age as him. Just imagine what that meant for Brandon Ingram, for Andre Ingram. You checking into the game at the same time Chris Paul checks into the game. And Chris Paul, somebody you unquestionably look up to, looks you in the face and tells you, I'm proud of you, bro. See, it's moments like this you can't teach, ladies and gentlemen. I ain't trying to get all sentimental and all that stuff, but it's stuff like this you just can't teach. You don't find these moments every day. And true to form, who made it happen? Someone by the name of Magic. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Andre Ingram, I'm proud of you too, bro. What a show you put on last night. Absolutely phenomenal performance. You should be proud. I hope this guy remains with the Lakers. I'm really, really rooting for him. It's a special night in Los Angeles, despite the loss. Evidently, their future is brighter than any of us thought it was. 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. That's Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. When you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant resumes. You want an efficient way to get to a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes. Set up screener questions based on your job requirements. Then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed.
Craving even more of Stephen A?
Him of all people.
For around-the-clock access to the man?
I'm Stephen A.
You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Stephen A. Smith and on Facebook at Stephen A.
Weston knows how disruptive travel can be to your well-being. But with rejuvenating heavenly beds and nutritious superfoods RX menu and gear lending for when you leave your workout gear at home, Weston will help you stay in control and rise above it all. Weston, let's rise. Learn more at Weston.com. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. 888-729-3776 is the number to call into the Stephen A. Smith Show. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. I need to pause for a second here. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to shift gears for just a second. And I want the world to understand that I have a couple of producers and a board op and associate producer, and the three of them I love dearly. They're family to me. I take care of my own. Jonathan Winthrop, Nuno Texiera, Catherine Pastor. I told you, John's white. Nuno is Mexican or Portuguese. I still don't know. Cat Pastor got a little Russian background. I like it. I really, really do. Let me say this. They did something just now during the commercial break, ladies and gentlemen, that has me wondering whether or not I should fire all three of them. They did something, ladies and gentlemen, that was an exercise in cruelty. They tried to give me a heart attack. They're actually hoping that I have a heart attack. And ladies and gentlemen, they feel this way because these three corrupt individuals at the moment, that's what they are, corrupt at this moment. Not before this moment, not before this commercial break. They were fine until this commercial break. But after what they just said, to me, ladies and gentlemen, I think they're trying to harm me. My producer, in concert with the both of them, asked me this question. What would I prefer more? Jeff Hornacek being retained or losing his job and the New York Knicks giving it to David Blatt, the former head coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who was replaced by Tyronn Lue. I know I'm supposed to be careful with my words. I know I'm not supposed to issue threats. After all, I work for Walt Disney. That's Mickey Mouse. But if either scenario happens, I'm telling you right now, the New York Knicks, you could take this as a threat if you want to. You go ahead and do either scenario. You go ahead and you keep Jeff Hornacek, or you get rid of him and you bring David Blatt here to be the head coach of the New York Knicks, and you watch what I do. You watch what I do. That had better not happen. I'm sick of this. I don't want to hear this nonsense. I don't give a damn about Steve Mills' relationship with his buddy David Blatt. And by the way, I respect David Blatt. It's not like the man doesn't know how to coach and he doesn't know basketball. He did guide the Cleveland Cavaliers to the finals. I'm not trying to disrespect him, but I keep telling y'all, and I'm not playing. What the hell is today's date? Isn't today's date April 11th? Isn't today's date? Yes, it is. It's April 11th. What have I said for the last 2 months? It is April 11th. The New York Knicks' last game is tonight. By tomorrow, Jeff Hornacek should be gone. Period. And by April 15th, Mark Jackson should be named the next head coach for the New York Knicks. Now let me backtrack so everybody understands exactly where I'm coming from. This job that is coaching the New York Knicks under the ownership of James Dolan isn't just a head coaching job. It's a challenge to one's sanity. Yes, James Dolan cuts the check. Yes, James Dolan cuts the check and for the most part lets you do what you want to do with basketball operations. But because Cablevision and Madison Square Garden, the conglomerate that it is so suffocating in so many ways. The business of it all infringes upon basketball and hockey. It takes a special person to deal with that in a market like New York City. You absolutely positively cannot have just a coach here. You have to have someone New Yorkers believe in, who wants to be here. They don't want to be in Montana smoking something we don't know. They don't want to be in some hospital somewhere with bad hips. They don't want to be out in L.A. with ex-fiancés. No, they want to be here in New York City representing. That's what they want. Somebody who is not a player that speaks to the media every game, who is the voice of the franchise, who can galvanize New Yorkers and New York Knicks fans everywhere to have faith in them. Because if you do that, it'll warrant their support. It's not just about coaching. It's about a spokesperson we can trust. So Steve Mills and Scott Perry can work behind the scenes to do their job. That's what we need. If David Blatt's here, we still looking at Steve Mills all the damn time. We ain't taking our eyes off him. Because we're going to be like, what's up? How'd you hire this guy? If you keep Jeff Hornacek, same thing. Jeff Hornacek's not a bad coach. He's not somebody devoid of basketball knowledge. He's just not the right fit for New York because New York is a problematic situation that extends beyond the playing court. And you need somebody that New Yorkers want to embrace and have faith in. That the Spike Lees of the world and all the stars around them will not be hesitant to speak up on behalf of. That's what you need. You can say Doc Rivers. I personally think that even though Doc Rivers is gone, tonight's his last game. I think he's gone because I think Jerry West has his own vision, and I think we've all known that. And if he didn't, Steve Ballmer wouldn't have brought him here. So I think that's what's going on. I could be wrong, but I think Doc Rivers is coaching his last game in L.A. tonight. But do I think Doc Rivers is a great coach? Yes, for anywhere but New York. If it ain't Mark Jackson, there's only one other man that I would be interested in, and he's never coached before, and that would be Kenny Smith for TNT. Those are the two. That's it. I want Mike Woodson to get a job again as a head coach because I think he got screwed over with Phil not keeping him and bringing on Derek Fisher here. But somewhere other than New York. Doc Rivers somewhere other than New York. Even though I would not sniff at Doc Rivers coming here. But Mark Jackson or Kenny Smith, preferably in that order. Because we ain't just talking about basketball. We're talking about galvanizing New Yorkers and giving them a source to believe in. If David Blatt were to get here or Jeff Hornacek would be retained, it's just telling New Yorkers it's all the same. And we got the same nonsense to look forward to next season. And nobody wants that. Jeff Hornacek needs to be gone by tomorrow. Tomorrow. Tick tock, tick tock. Stephen A. Smith has the clock ticking right now. He needs to be gone. And Mark Jackson should be here by next week. It's just that damn simple. If it's complicated, it's only because we're talking about the Knicks. There's no other reason for complications. Do not tick me off.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.